Ann Hood.
Here.
David Johnson.
Present.
Ben Rose.
Here.
You all have the minutes before you, which you have two sets of minutes, the League of Cities presentation and the meeting from November the 21st. Do you all prefer them to be read, or would you prefer to pass them? We can read them if you all want to go through them.
Got to stand over yourself.
And like I said, we don't mind to read them verbally if you all deem it necessary.
You could probably read them faster, although.
What's that?
We'd probably read them faster.
Okay.
We're going out. Last time I felt bad. So like you want me to pitch in and take a couple paragraphs?
Have to get on our water, but
Yes.
And whenever anyone's satisfied to make a motion or any deletions to the minutes.
I make the motion to accept the minutes as written.
That would be for both meetings.
Both meetings, yes.
So the motion to accept the minutes is read. Is there a second?
I'll second
Okay, David Johnson seconds. Any discussion whatsoever? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Minutes pass. From the special purpose government entity filing status, Donnie, do you mind to bring us up to speed on that, please?
Sure. You will find two documents there. One is a printout from today on the SPGE website that still shows everything is not filed. And then there's a letter that I got probably about 4 o'clock, something like that, that Ms. Coots sent over that she had received from Scott Graham, and we can read that. Just as that she had indicated that she had recently been contacted by one or more representatives of the Stanton Tourism Commission relative to access to the SPGE portal with the Department of Local Government. The Commission wanted to access and update the information on said site as well as ensure payment of the applicable annual fees. I do not believe I have been contacted directly by anyone from Stanton Tourism regarding the same. To my knowledge, I was the last individual to utilize said site when I updated all the information and paid the applicable fees in 2022, when all that information needed to be brought current in order to qualify for the recent state grant the Stanton Tourism Commission was awarded, as lead applicant with several other tourism commissions in the area. At that time, the account had not been updated in several years. I could not recall if I was the official contact person or not on said account. I recently contacted SPGE Division, advised that I no longer needed to be listed as the contact person for said account, and inquired as far as what would need to be done to replace me on said account. The lady I spoke with at the Department of Local Government SPGE branch advised that I was listed as a user on said account and that Chelsea Nolan, former tourism director, was listed as the actual contact person for said account. I was advised that they would withdraw me as a user on said account and that representatives from Stanton Tourism could contact their office directly regarding establishing a new contact person, additional users on said account, and securing access to said account. The phone number I use, and so then he gives the phone number information, and since you and the city were contacted and not me directly, please pass this information on to representatives of the Stanton Tourism Commission.
Thank you so much. So we're still working on getting those filings. So thank you for the correspondence. Update on the EIN number.
Okay, as you will see, as passed in the last meeting, was to go ahead and get an EIN number. And so you've got documentation there from the Internal Revenue Service stating the new employer identification number for Stanton Tourism Convention Commission.
Excellent. Thank you. Any questions about that at all? Update on the office space there at the depot. Donna and Pam were able to access through the kindness here of people in the office, the building in the rear, and were able to actually get the tourism office ready to be used. So, Pam, since you were involved in that, you kind of want to report on the status of that, if you don't mind.
It is ready for us to move in. We've got everything set. There's some t-shirts and things that still need to be put out on shelves. But other than that, it's ready, it's clean, and ready to go.
Really good.
Any questions about that or concerns? As you said, it looked very, very ready to be utilized. So thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
They got rid of the raccoons.
We didn't see any, so other than falling down the steps, I'm good.
About 5 years ago, I was in there and it was in the middle of a meeting and a raccoon popped its head out.
So for new business, we have financial report, which you'll find basically with which Teresa was very kind enough to provide an overview there, and you have also the receipts of the restaurant tax and the transient tax, appears like. Any questions about that at all? Is there anything in particular that needs to be reported on with that, or just a brief overview would be sufficient?
I'll give a brief overview. I did want to say too, there's 2 other documents there. One is just, it was asked about passwords and just felt like the commission needed to have those. And Ms. Kuntz was able to provide those, and so I made sure that was in there. So the commissioners all have access to that, and it's not lost in changeover and all that. And then there was also the interlocal agreement was sent from League of Cities, and so I wanted y'all to have that as well moving forward. So that was just the draft.
An example.
It's an example. Yeah. Then as far as the paperwork, the first part is the reconciliation detail, which is, this all came from Ms. Kuntz, and the reconciliation detail with the bank statements are there, and clear checks. And then there's a profit and loss budget versus actual. I spoke with Ms. Kuntz and provided her with the actual budget, and so she corrected the budget figures, and then she has reported. This is July through November of 2023, and just to give some clarity there, the restaurant tax for those months was $187,438.01, and we had transient room tax of $65,7666, other revenues of $16,400. Total income, $211,197.38. Expenses, we had some expense for the drive-in, the lease for the drive-in. Total for Stanton drive-in property was a little over $10,000. Had some office expenditures, office rent, accounting fees, legal fees, and utilities. The restaurant tax expenses, our biggest figure, that's the 50%. That goes to Parks and Recreation. It is sitting right now at $110,130.73, which is 58.7% of the restaurant tax income. And then there's some other expenses there. The next sheet that you see there is a reconciliation. When I said it was 58.7%, on the money that was given to the city Parks and Recreation, it's because Ms. Coontz, based on a spreadsheet, was under the impression that it was the city was behind on getting their payment. And so I had asked her since she had all the books, to go ahead and just give an overview of each year. And so she did, and I put together a spreadsheet based on the actual books that she printed off. And so it shows every year how much the restaurant tax income was, how much the restaurant tax expense paid, which was to the city Parks and Rec. So you had a total there of income of $2.4 million. And money paid to the Parks and Rec was 1.239, so 1.24 million. And 50%, which is the correct amount, is 1.2 million, almost even. And so I'm showing actually a difference where, starting from inception of the restaurant tax, it appears, based on the information provided, that there has been overpayment of a little over $39,000 to the city. And I also have the spreadsheets that were given to me for 2023 on the tourism tax and the restaurant tax. And you will be able to see by those that we do have some people not paying those taxes. And I will say, I had talked with Chris Cheney after the last meeting, and he has been wonderful to work with in regards to the tourism side. And so he is, as part of the city, we sat down and talked about these things, and I even got League of Cities in on some of that information as well. And so he is taking kind of the head of that and working on trying to get the tourism tax collection process going. Is that fair to say?
I've sent letters. Basically, I've done research mostly on the short-term rental, trying to identify, I do a lot of research to identify all the short-term rentals, and contact the owners that haven't registered their short-term rentals and haven't paid a business license to get them in compliance. But then also, after our conversation, I sent letters indicating that they should pay the transient room tax. And then I had one let me know that they had been told not to pay the tax because Airbnb, or well, the platforms were supposed to be paying the tax. But then I've had others that have complied and paid the tax. So kind of 50-50 there with compliance on the transient room.
And
but
my understanding, they are responsible to pay.
According to according to League of Cities, they're still responsible to pay that even if Airbnb isn't paying.
Right.
We do have a record of it's homeaways.com, which if you go to that, it directs to VRBO. So I think that's their operating name. They have been paying. But the problem is we don't know who they're paying for. And there's a little bit of an issue with some properties are listed on both, on Airbnb and VRBO. So we don't know which are in compliance through that aspect. And when I talked to Chelsea earlier today, I recommend maybe update the reporting form. And she had suggested even maybe have two, one for individuals and one for management companies. But some way, there needs to be a way for them to itemize who they're reporting for and a breakdown of that. And like, it probably doesn't matter the amount that each are paying so much as just that they've paid. But we don't have any way to know if some are falling through the cracks or if they're all being paid or not. But we're trying to, I've sent Chelsea the spreadsheet of the list I have of those properties with all the information that I've been able to gather so far. So she now has that and the ability to contact as many of those as possible. I do include the listing links, so that way there's some cross-reference to be able to check on those. And then from the permitting side and all that, I have records of all of that, just from the tracking the business licenses and those kind of things. So we're doing pretty good as far as I know of keeping up with all of that, but it's probably going to be an ongoing process over time to kind of keep that list.
Any comments or questions at all?
I would just like to say this is statewide. This is not like Stanton. Everyone's dealing with it. There's no like clear instruction. One group says to do one thing and another group says to do another. So it's going to be a mess for a little bit for everybody. So don't feel like it's anything you all have done wrong.
Hopefully they solve this problem when they have a meetings in Frankfurt.
Yeah.
Isn't there hearing in January?
I think so.
Yeah, the state is actually suing Airbnb.
Yes.
I'd say Airbnb in some kind.
Yeah.
So the issue that everybody's going to be in, from my understanding, is when the state forces Airbnb to pay, they're going to send you all one big lump sum of money, and you're going to have no idea who that goes for. And if someone has been paying that money the whole time, what's the ramification then? Do you refund someone that has been paying the whole time? Or do you just, forward that balance? How do you figure that out? It's a huge mess statewide right now, though.
Anything else? Chelsea, if you don't mind, would you be able to report on the past month's advertising and some of the figures on that, if you don't mind?
I would love to.
Thank you.
I'm really excited because we've got a lot done in a short amount of time. So, all right, hang in there with me because I'm blind and this ink is not bright. Okay, we extended the temperature check campaign that we've been running through WSKV. That's an investment of $6,120 a year. It's a high rotation of ads. It runs twice an hour, every hour. And there's a bunch of different liners going into the temperature check and out of the temperature check. I'm sure you've heard it, but it says something like, today's a great day at exit 22, and then it'll say the temperature, and then it says visit explorestanton.com. But there's like a million different possibilities of how it's going to sound, but it's neat. And there's been fantastic feedback with this. Because I know the people who really appreciate local music, Kentucky music, which is also a big draw in the gorge, with the rock climbers, they frequent that pickup country app. So this isn't just going to where the satellite reaches or the tower reaches. A big push of theirs is on their app. So, and they're a great resource to SDCC. So I was happy to be able to help with that partnership and to claim ownership of that temperature check. We've also secured 10,000 rack cards with Print USA out of Moorhead, who was the previous printer of our rack cards, to coincide with those 7,000 gorge guides that we were allocated. I still haven't received a final invoice for that. I've called and emailed them several times. They'll get it, but that's about $800. It was like $698 for the rack cards, and then it was almost $100 for shipping. And I got 10,000, so we would have enough to coincide with those $7,000 or 7,000 rack cards for the gorge guides, and then have some left over for other distribution. We established a partnership with WCYO, which is the Coyote, and I'm really excited about that. I reached out to them and asked them if they had any kind of like temperature check or time check, kind of like what we were doing with WSKV, and they didn't, but they created it for us. So we own the time check with them, and we own the temperature check with WSKV. The reach is much wider and larger, but the rotation is not as heavy, but we'll be reaching probably more people. They're running morning, midday, and afternoon. I made sure that they were all during drive time, so they'll be in rotators in morning drive time, lunch drive time, and evening drive time, and they'll be twice during each of those blocks. I contracted it to run between January and February for $1,000 a month, just to see kind of what that feedback was like and how that looked, and I'm hoping to be able to extend that in the future, but right now just wanted to do a couple months just to see how that played out. I'll be going to record those ads this week. She hasn't got back with me. I don't know if it's tomorrow or Friday, but we'll figure that out. But I got administrative privileges on the Facebook account and have been slowly sharing and scheduling posts on there. I'm looking real forward to diving into that soon. This is a really slow time of year, so typically this time is used for planning what's coming up, and then really pushing hard, usually come March. An advertising schedule was solidified and enacted with WKYT. I don't know if you guys have seen that.
I did.
But, oh yeah, but our ads were placed on air in places like CBS This Morning, Everyday Kentucky, and the Mid-Morning News. That was a $2,000 package. The video footage was collected, edited, and distributed to all these places. That was $600. We secured advertising in the digital space on WKYT's live stream app, and that's geo-targeting areas outside of and around Stanton, and that's pushing out nearly 30,000 ads, and that was $1,000. Our commercial will also be reaching visibility on the 10 o'clock news on CW Lexington. That was an $800 package, and their 10 p.m. news outperforms other 10 p.m. news on the market, so that was a good deal. We've also enacted an advertising schedule on Fox 56, who will be displaying our ad in places like morning, evening, and nightly news, as well as a few other rotator spots during the day, and that came in just under $2,000. Our commercial hit Facebook, pushing our reach in the last 28 days to over 12.2 thousand people, and that's up 814%. Our Instagram reach, which Instagram's not a high performing platform in this area, but it's just imperative to have it because if someone looks, we're there. But that was up 95, but 95 views is up. That's equivalent to 9,400%. So if that's any, yeah. Our Facebook page visits are up over 1.4 thousand views, and that's up 343%. Instagram page visits are up 14 views, but that's 367%. It's just silly how little Instagram performs around here. But we've gained 24 Facebook followers over the last 28 days and 6 Instagram followers. Facebook targeted ads promoting Christmas light video started yesterday. I was trying to get all the organic reach that we could get out of that video and then push for paid ads. So if you're in Stanton, you're not going to get any of those ads, so you're not going to see them. But if you're in Clay City or anywhere to Lexington and all the way to Prestonsburg and just this pretty much up and down the parkway and out 25 to 50 miles, they're going to see them. I sent in my invoice for November through the end of last week. And you all have received this information. The social media stuff was updated. I updated that today. But for the month of November, there were 17 hours logged. For the month of December, there were 37 hours logged, totaling 54 hours in last month. You can see what the time has been spent on, but the time invoice was spent between advertising, development, negotiations, creation, implementation, invoicing, social media, planning, analysis, travel, and meetings. That's just an average of 13.5 hours a week. It's not a lot. If you're looking for more, let me know. If you're looking for less, let me know. I obtained the website password yesterday afternoon, which is that same sheet that you all received, and have began updating and revamping the website, which you'll see some of it, but I'm not going to publish the final stuff until it's done. But I have taken off things that needed to be taken off, and I've also secured licensure for some really fantastic professional photos. There's a group, it's like Kentucky Waterfall and Arches or something like that, and this guy's name's Bill Fultz. Every time he posts a picture in there, it goes absolutely viral. But I reached out to him today, and he said that he would license us 15 photos for social media use and website use for $100 a photo, which is fantastic. And I'm going to base the whole vibe of the website around those photos because they're great. But so I'm waiting on an invoice from him for those, and then we're gonna sit down probably over Zoom and pick out the photos that that we can use. He said that we can use them for print later on, but that will just require additional licensure. I contacted Chris today to get a list of Airbnbs and short-term rentals, and to get a list of the businesses, the brick and mortar businesses that have licenses. I'm curious how you all want to move forward with promotion. It seems to me that the fairest way is to only list the businesses, the brick and mortar businesses that are paying their license. I want to do this in the least controversial way possible. I don't want to get in any drama, so I want your all's opinion on how, because there's a bunch of businesses. Obviously, I'm just trying to list the shops and the restaurants and the Airbnbs for people to come to. I don't know what you want to do, if you only want me to list the businesses that are current on their business license, or if you just want me to list businesses that have their door open. I don't know, but I'll need, I'll finish this, and then you all can go back to that and let me know what you want me to do. The next steps, like I said earlier, I'm sorry this is taking forever. I'll be recording the Coyote time check commercials this week, continuing heavy website updating. That's pretty much what's going to be taking place throughout the rest of this month and January, probably February. There's a lot of updates that need to happen. A lot of those updates are based on how you want to move forward with promoting businesses, how you want to do that. Receiving that information, going and taking pictures, it's going to be a long, drawn-out process, but that's going to be most of what the rest of the winter looks like. I received a quote for Kentucky Living ads that will begin in April. Those are really cool. We got a lot of feedback from that last year. But that's about $3,903 for the year. I would expect to finish the list for rat card distribution to be finalized at the end of January / mid-February, because that's kind of also going to coincide with the business list. That however you all want to do that, but a lot of that information that I'll need for that will also coincide with the website updates. So I'm just kind of waiting to make sure that all that information is correct and what you all want to push out, because I'm just here to do what you want me to do. And I'm awaiting an estimate from the Freeman Motorcycle Maps guy. We did the back cover of their map last year, and he told us that we could have it again this year, but he was on vacation and he told me he'd give it to me in January. So, but that's all I have. But I just want to thank you guys for letting me continue to do this and spread the lie of the good stuff that's going on in the community. It means a lot to me and I appreciate it. So.
Do we have any comments for Chelsea? That was an excellent report.
Thank you.
Excellent report. Yes, please.
Excellent job. Great report, and looks like, very excellent work. I think everybody's seeing what you're doing, so it's visible, and honestly, I understand the work that goes into doing what you're doing. So, based on your billable hours, I would say you've been very efficient with your work as well. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Great job.
Which I may have missed it. What was the coverage there on that video of the Christmas lights? Can you you may have
on Facebook?
Well, yeah. What do you feel like that the reach was for that? Because that was a phenomenal. So right now the video is going through a paid reach. So by Christmas that's gonna be exponentially greater. But I've only made a couple of posts on Facebook, but that was like the main post, but it reached over 12,000 people. So I would say that a big chunk of, I would say at least 10 to 11,000 views would be my guess, but I don't know.
I think the commercial on Channel 27 reached a lot of people. It stopped me. I stopped, turned around.
It's weird, ain't it?
It was a really, really good commercial.
Thank you.
That promoted our little town wonderfully.
It's really nice to be able to help provide what everybody's wanting for. There's division in anything you do, but I think at the end of it all, everybody just wants to see their community succeed. And no matter how that comes across, things like this do a lot of good because you get the community buy-in and they see Stanton and Christmas lights on TV and everybody's just proud of where they're from and where they're going to, and I don't know, there's just a lot of positive feedback. I think even if it just brings one person, I think that the positive feedback that you get within the community to work as a community is really nice. So, not to sound all hippy-dippy and woo-woo, but it is what it is. I think that's one thing everyone can agree on.
Well, I think you've done a great job. Thank you.
Thank you, Liz.
And any other comments for Chelsea? Please, yes.
Prior, there were quite a few ads running on individual businesses on an individual basis. Because unfortunately, a lot of places just didn't either get into the gorge guide or something happened. And so that was a pickup for that, because there is kind of a criteria for that gorge guide. I think she needs to go ahead and work that out and start reconcentrating like she was before on the businesses to get them out with what she's doing. And as far as the tax on that, that's up to the city, I guess, to enforce that. And I don't see the need to punish an individual if they're not going to be in business, they're not paying their taxes anyway, they're eventually going to get shut down anyway. So, if that makes any sense, Chelsea.
It makes sense. It's just really hard for me to figure out who's where. It's easier if Chris sends me a list and I have all that information and can input that on the website.
Okay. I think we ought to go ahead and redo that again. We're doing pretty good with that for a while.
Well, yeah, there's just no, that's what I've been doing,
Yeah.
but I can't do that until I have the list.
Right.
But it's constantly rotating,
Right.
and I've discussed all that with Chris, and he's going to just send me the list of all the businesses that are current with their business license, because it's so hard to tell who who's here if they're not on that.
They just
Right.
shut down.
Right.
Not paying.
Yeah.
Why
But I don't want-
just go with that, and then if
Yeah.
somebody complains, tell them, you get the list of ones that are current on their taxes, and
Yeah.
that would be an incentive.
So are we doing taxes or are we just doing business licenses?
Business license.
Okay.
Yeah, business license, yeah.
Because I think I understand the tax thing, but I also know like it's a mess.
Yeah,
Right
because you got a
now,
lot of
in the whole
businesses that
state.
don't pay taxes into the tourism,
Yeah.
we still need to highlight.
Yeah, oh yeah, all the shops need to be highlighted for sure. But there's a big plan with all that. The website's gonna be really nice, and I'm excited about how that's gonna be. It's gonna take a minute.
Well, we're still
we'll get there.
recouping from,
Yeah,
it's just taking a while to get
Yeah.
to where we need to be, and we're getting there slowly.
yeah.
Anything else for Chelsea on? Yes, sir. Thoughts?
I just want to piggyback what Chelsea said and Mike and then David come in. I agree, like you said, that all the local businesses, when they see that their business is promoted on Facebook, it does bring customers into those businesses, because I took some gorge guys out a while back, and like you said, when you hand them to them, you go in, they'll say, I saw my business on there, and whether it's antique store, restaurant, whatever it may be, the hardwares, they will tell you that new customers do come in when they see that flashing on Facebook. It will draw, and I know Mike's been big on that from the beginning since he's been on the board. He's always said promote these businesses. And,
Well, I scheduled a post. You would probably appreciate this. When I was sitting in the parking lot, whenever you all walk by, because I drove by the bookshop and they had game nights on Tuesday nights, and I had no idea. So I went in there and took some pictures and scheduled a post for next Tuesday morning. So maybe, but yeah, and it's nice because it's free. They don't have to pay for it, and
when they do see, like you said, somebody will call them up and say, "Hey, your business was just on Facebook," and said, "We saw it highlighted," and they get phone calls, and people like Carol as a business owner. There's several other people here that own businesses. They'll tell you that Pam's up at the U store. When those are on there, people will go there and spend some extra dollars.
well, it helps the Facebook algorithm too.
Yeah.
People react to that stuff,
So-
but in the winter, it's just kind of slow.
And like you said, if you can put it on through the winter, it
Yeah.
does help them get through those hard months.
Yep. Agreed.
Anything else for Chelsea?
I will say, if anybody has if there's anything you're like, hey, I'd like to see us on this, can you get us on that, or what? Just let me know. I want it to be transparent. I want it to be positive. We just all need to lift each other up. So let me know, and I will do what I can to make it happen, because that's what I'm here for.
Great job. Great job. Is there any which, kind of as an overview, here we're in December, looking at some of the work that this commission's done in basically about 3 months. We've been able to kind of put together a vision of the steps that we want to take to try to get the commission where we want it to be, with being able to plan and as far as like a budget, and then being able to describe to a director how we want them to function and what we actually want them to do on behalf of the board, or the commission. And during that time, which is a great blessing, we were able to acquire Melon Advertising to be able to push our message out, at least from an advertising standpoint, which is a pivotal component today. And you're doing, like I said, a phenomenal job on that. Also, we've been able to acquire office space and actually get that up and running in less than a month. And Pam and Donna, you all have done a phenomenal job with that. We had the opportunity for the first time in the Commission's history that I'm aware of, and I could be wrong, to be able to have an open look at the financials and being able to see how the finances are actually collected, at least from my standpoint. Did you have something you wanted to say there?
No.
Okay.
Not yet.
And that's been a great benefit to the members here to see how the taxes are collected and who's paying them, and then to regurgitate some of the information. And then also we've been able to, as a group, go through the League of Cities education, which is was very informative. It was for me, and I know I'm sure the board really gleaned a great deal of information from that. So in 3 months, I feel like that's a great deal to be accomplished. I know from the last city meeting that two of the commissioners that we have will be going off of the board. I want to express in regards as a chairman that the work you all have done has been very helpful to this board. You all have, Pam, in your case, you got out and worked to help to get everything aligned in the tourism building. Eric, with your background with business, your wisdom and everything you bring to the table, you've been a great benefit to this board, and I regret seeing you all depart. Is there anything that you all would like to say or communicate to the board? This being the last meeting.
Well, when I was asked to participate in this board, I was told I would be on it for 3 years. And I was excited about it. Of course, that did not come about. I was told a lot of things that didn't come about. So I am leaving the board with a little hard feelings and hurt feelings with the mayor and some other things that's going on. All we ever wanted to know was how the money was collected and spent. That's all we ever asked. And we had roadblocks all the way along. One thing it has done, it has excited me that I'm going to be at every meeting. I'm going to be at every city meeting. And I may end up being at every county meeting because something is going on that's not right. Having a change is not bad. We need to change for the future and not stay the same. And that's what I wanted to say.
Thank you, Pam, for being. Eric, is there anything you'd like to communicate?
Very briefly. Similar in my thought of doing this it was my understanding when I was asked to do this, that I was asked to do this for 3 years. That I certainly was willing to take on that challenge, knowing that there had been some level of turnover with this commission prior to that, and that there needed to be some some firming up of this and try to position for success going forward. Unlike many folks that are here, I'm not born and bred here. I chose to live here. I chose to bring a family here. I chose to raise a family here. I chose to start a business here. A business that's, I'm fortunate to have been successful with that business. A business that will put close to $2 million in wages that's going to go into Powell County this year. We employ quite a few people, and with the exception of a handful, those are all Powell County residents. So when I, come in front of everybody here and I make decisions or make suggestions, based on what I truly believed was right and what would benefit the county and the city, in the long run. It certainly was in no way, shape, or form, I wasn't attempting to create division. As it was mentioned to me, I wasn't trying to, make major change. What I was trying to do was do something right, and that's where I was at. I hope, my hope for this board and this community is that, things go on the right track. Just because it was always done this way doesn't mean that is the right way. The status quo does not mean that is, just because it was always done a particular way doesn't mean that is the way that it should be done today. Things need to evolve, things need to change, and things can improve and get better if people are open-minded and everybody can work towards the same goal. So I do wish the rest of this commission the best. Like I said, this is I chose home. It wasn't one of these folks that's I'm just here and I'm here for the life. I mean, we packed up, we picked this, and this is where we are. So I have as much invested in this community and the success of this community as anybody does. So I want to see it be successful.
Thank you for your all's comments and your service to this commission. Anybody have any comments you want to say, anything along those lines? Okay. Is there any other new business that this board wants to take up? I deem it proper that with the fact of there being several commissioners coming on, that we really table any type of business that would consider being done out of respect for those individuals, and then trying to be brought up to speed if you all deem it appropriate. On my part, as I said, I think that a lot of the things that have been accomplished here on this board were because of a good group that had been placed together, and I'm very proud of this board for what they've been able to do in 3 months. I know with 2 of the members being taken off of the board, it may be, and nobody's communicated it to me, but it could be the case that the trajectory of the board is not satisfactory to the city council or to the mayor, and I realize that to possibly be the case. With that being said, there would be very little reason to take members off that had been here for 3 months. With that said, with the possibly, and like I said, no one's communicated to me, with possibly the discontent of those individuals, I deem it wise to step down myself as chairman and submit my commission back as well, because of the fact that if the Stanton tourism needs to be on point with the city council and the mayor's office, because that's what they deserve. They deserve and I've given my best effort, and I want to wish this commission the very best of luck with what they're doing, because it's a very important work. It's very beneficial to this community, and it needs to be done well, and I want to see it done well. And I thank the mayor for being appointed to it, and I wish you a great deal of success going forward. Yes, please.
With that being said, too, first of all, I want to thank this board for the calls and the texts and different ways of sympathy that you've reached out to me over the last month, with my mother passing away a month ago today. With that being said, both internal and external things have been on my mind, and I've got to readjust my perspectives as well. There's things that I had to get done in a different way that I've never had to do before with family, And so I've got to focus that way myself. But again, thank you all for your sympathy. And at this time, I would like to officially put in my resignation as well.
Any further comments or any new business that needs to be transacted by the board or the commission? Yes, sir, please.
I just want to say to Ben, I'm sorry to hear about the passing of your mother. And the reason I can speak up with Ben, and I worked with him many years ago. He worked at Pepsi, I worked at Coca-Cola. And we worked, the bosses, it was sort of like Coke versus Pepsi. And we'd do big displays for the Super Bowls and things like that. But me and Ben had that interaction though working, that when we was at the store, at Kroger's especially, we would have to get those displays down so Pepsi could get those up or Coke, so we would jump in there and help each other. So we would go in at 6 a.m. and 5 o'clock in the morning and we would get that down. The point being is, we worked together back years ago, even though it was for different companies. And I remember one time being there and he said, let me grab a pallet jack and a pallet. And he came out and he started grabbing the Coke product, putting on there. And then the vice versa, the week before, if I got in early, I would grab the Pepsi and load it on there, take it back to the back. And the store manager was sort of coming to me, that lady that worked there. And she said, Joey, she said, if you're a boss, I said, I know, but I said, we've got a job that we have to do. And I said, we try to help each other. And she said, I like that. She said, but like I said, I want to give my condolences. Sorry about the passing. You know, I lost my brother a year and a half ago. And he brought on some help, things for me with the Bell's palsy and things like that. But thank you. Just a prayer for you. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Before the meeting adjourns, I have an issue that I would like to discuss with Mike Briggs.
This is not the time for that, Carol. You've already made your point.
Pardon?
You've made your point on Facebook.
Oh, no,
we were struggling with this board to get started, and you asked me to check phone numbers.
you said you lied to me 3 times. You tapped that table,
Carol,
and said, I will see that they're in there. Then you turned around and Landers Crow's Feathers Farm, or whatever it's called, he ended up, he was the only business, and a new business at that got on the brochure.
that wasn't in Stanton.
A mistake. Whose mistake was it?
That wasn't in Stanton.
But you sat right there.
I said I would work on it to my best
and
ability.
3 times. You told me not 1 time,
Carol,
not 2 times, but 3.
You're right. You're right.
I know I'm right.
That's
and if you want me to go pull the minutes, file for open records, and pull the minutes, I will.
Okay, Carol.
You lied. You didn't have
Carol,
to do that.
I don't remember all that. There was so
You
much
don't
going
remember,
on.
well,
I remember you
hell,
talking
sorry,
about me
I
checking
know
the phone
you
numbers and the
you don't
addresses.
remember.
I don't remember anything else.
And you don't show up either, so.
What's the resolution here? Or
It was a lie. We knew it to start.
It was the Gorge guys.
No, I understand. What's the resolution that you're looking for, or you just want it to be heard?
And what?
Are you looking for resolution, or were you just wanted to let everybody know that
Well,
you're
I was
upset?
surprised. He didn't have to tell me 3 times in a row that he would see that they were in there. And, you know, it ain't no big deal, but how could a new business get in there over, say, Chelsea had a business, or Powell had a business, or he had one. I've been there almost 13 years. And, you know, I'm not hurting. I don't depend on that for a living.
Chelsea,
I don't have to.
These cards that you're
I'm
having,
not
are they
rich
gonna
by
have
any
listed
means, but I don't depend on my building. But
businesses?
I think all the little businesses as well as the big ones should be listed. If you've got all the restaurants on there, people need to know everything that's in Powell County that they can go visit. They come in all the time. Well, is there not anything to do in this town?
And I think that maybe with the new board that's coming on, being able to communicate to some of those members and maybe the next time around, there's nothing that can be done now, and I'm so sorry.
Well, it wouldn't have made me so mad, Hondo, if he hadn't lied 3 different times.
You're gaslighting and calling me up to make me feel, no, I'm not going to debate with you about this, Carol.
I can take the truth.
We had 2 weeks to put everything together, and we have a limited space in there. We couldn't get every single business within that gorge guide.
Well,
were you in the gorge guide the prior year?
I'll tell you what the problem is.
I'm just asking you if you were in the gorge guide the prior year.
If I want.
Was in the gorge guide the prior years, with it being there?
I don't go to the gorge.
No, well, that was the gorge guide, see? That was for the gorge. We can't get every single business within that gorge
Well, it had
guide.
Stanton business eating places in it, didn't it?
Yeah, it does. They pay the taxes for that.
Well, you all paid $24,000 to come out of the committee's money, and supposedly you got refunded. I don't know if you did or what. It's not my business.
What you stated though is in the minutes, so you've made your point, and it is memorialized in the minutes. So as far as this group that's here, I'm so sorry we can't reconcile that because
It's like if you had a Stanton tourism committee, you would have a brochure of all the businesses in Stanton because they come from everywhere. I get them from Johnson County, all up in the mountains. Over that way, Menifee.
And that would be
Take that
something
up with the
great
new board.
to mention to the new board members about your desire, and they may do that. I'm sure they'll take your opinion into consideration.
Well, don't say something that's not going to happen.
So is there anything else that?
Yeah, I would.
Yes, ma'am.
Due to the fact that the majority of the commission is gone, I want to just go ahead and step down. I don't believe, at least at this point, that there's any desire to have a separate bookkeeper, someone that can help take care of that stuff. So I want to step aside just to relieve anybody's need to question if I'm needed or whatever. That's fine. I want to just go ahead and resign as of December 31st because I do plan on getting these minutes put together and submitting those. I will submit them to the commission just so y'all can correct if there's any issue, and then I'll submit those to the city. But that'll all be done by the end of the year.
Anything else? We have a motion to adjourn.
I make the motion, we adjourn.
Second?
Second.